Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to England's TV channel, the channel that I recently started on wellness. As you may already know, this is my second video dropping on YouTube. However, I'm also found on TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. So I'll put all my handles and share with you so that you can also follow me there. So, how are we doing today? It's good to see you that you've come back to my channel, and this makes me really happy. And tell you what, I packed quite a lot of topics to talk about on this channel. Also, I packed up a lot of other goodies that I'll be able to tell you at a later stage. But today I just wanted just maybe to interact with you and just tell you a little more about myself, and also maybe give you some background story so that as you continue to watch this channel, you know very well where I started from. Okay. Um, in my first video, which I posted on YouTube sometime maybe two or one day ago, I talked about what the channel is all about. And one thing that I did mention is that the channel was inspired by my own wellness journey. And that's why I wanted to share with you here so that maybe one of or two people may be inspired or may, get some strategies or ideas to deal with their own things they're going through. Yeah, so my story goes like this. I was planning to apply for a mortgage, applying for to get a loan from the bank to purchase a house. By the way, I live in Europe, in London to be specific, and so I was planning to go and get a mortgage. But before then, I knew very well that some of the requirements or prerequisites for a mortgage would be maybe looking at your health, looking at, your some of the things that you have and so forth. And I knew very well that there were going to be questions like that. So I intended to do a health checkup, and before I could go and do a head checkup on this one fine day, I was doing my shopping, minding my own business. I met people who were professionals or health care workers who were doing some campaign, some health checkup campaign, and it was in a shopping mall, at a shopping mall. So I decided that I give it a go and said, okay, because I am planning to um, get a mortgage, then to go and do my health checkup at some time, a big health checkup. Maybe I need to just maybe have a check here. Why not? It's free. So I consulted, I inquired, and they said, yeah, it's free. So I said, yeah, well, with my shopping in my hands, and I decided to do some checkup. And the specific checkups they were doing were checkups to do with blood pressure. Um, they were doing uh, sugar disease or diabetes. Yeah, they were doing quite a lot of other weight and so forth. So I decided to give it a go. There was a long queue there. That's one thing that really attracted me as well. There was a long queue. I said, okay, let me just go there, minding my own business. And then, whilst I was waiting for my results, a nurse came direct to me. With so many of us waiting for our results, a nurse just came direct to me and said, oh, can I talk to you? I said, oh, yeah. And then she said, oh, are you on medication? I said, no, I'm not on medication. Said, medication for what? I said, no, it's only that your blood pressure is quite high. I said, my blood pressure? Mm. Would you be able to tell me when this blood pressure started? thinking maybe you can tell, because that's the first time I was hearing that. So then I said, no, no, no. It could be that this has been going on for some time, but maybe you didn't just realize. Tell me, how are you feeling? So she pulled me aside. It was really becoming like confidential. No one should hear it. And I was also becoming really anxious. As why is she even almost whispering? Is this really serious? So I dropped my shopping bags and just went aside while she talked to me. She said, yeah, I would actually ask you to go to the hospital right now, because it's just too high. um how have you been feeling? So I just explained it, some of the symptoms that I've been having, that I didn't think they were symptoms anyway, but it turns out that actually all along I've been missing high blood pressure without knowing. Mind you, uh, in Europe or in the UK, you have, your general practitioner, the GP, and I've been visiting GP for ailments like, cold. I remember I had COVID, and I called for to get to see whether they were going to I was going to have some medication in terms of, the headaches I was having and so forth. So they just told me to manage. And the times I've been to the GP, I haven't really had any like major examination where they're going to take my bloods or whatever. But to tell me whether I had any ailments or anything. But I used to go and have, like general checkup, my weight, urine, and so forth, and nothing was coming out of that. So for the nurse to tell me about having, an ongoing issue with my blood pressure according to the readings, it was a shock. It was really a shock. And the seriousness of it really like hit me really, really bad. And I was almost like shaking now. What do you want me to do? So I want you to go to the hospital now. I'm going to call an ambulance now. I said, don't tell me. I've been feeling like this all along. I said, yeah, 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 that's high blood pressure. So some of the symptoms or um, the feelings that I've had is that I've had, like headaches, I would had maybe stiff shoulders, I would yawn, maybe I would feel like tired. And all that I thought maybe it's to do with my job. Mind you, I work, and most of the time I'm working from home. And so there are times that I'm work, long hours. And I thought maybe all that was attributed to the work I do, not knowing actually that those were some of the signs or symptoms of high blood pressure. And I nurse myself on every time when I'm going to bed, I take maybe a painkiller, or when I feel stiff and all that, I just go to the gym. And yeah, and it worked. Sometimes it worked. Yeah, but then I lived like that for some time. Yeah, until that day, that's when I was told that. And then she told me to book myself if I wasn't going to go to the hospital on that day, to book an urgent um, doctor's appointment. So I said, okay, I'm going to go home. Yeah, I said, go home straight, and then make sure that you book on your way home, call your GP and inform them of this. And then she said, now looking at your weight, yeah, my weight that time was quite big, quite high. I was weighing almost 120 kg. And so said, looking at your blood pressure and also looking at your weight, I can tell that you are pre-diabetic. So I said, what does that mean? Said you are almost on the borderline between, going into being having a diagnosis of diabetes, sugar disease. I said, how do you know? He said, well, although your blood sugar right now is quite normal, but looking at your weight, anytime if you don't change or if there's nothing to change, you'll be diabetic, and you may need to be on medication. Mm, that made me start thinking, you know, um, I made it an appointment the following day. I went to see my GP, and my GP, I told my GP about everything. Actually, it was a nurse, a practice nurse, and I told her about what the community nurse had said, and and she said, yeah, your blood pressure is really high. What's going on? Is there something going on in your life? Are you thinking? Are you going through some issues and so forth? I said, no, I've been like this, the way I'm feeling now. I've been like this for some time now, like for years. That's how I am. I said, no, no, you need to be checked. The doctor need to check you. So he said, okay, I'm gonna make an appointment right now. Made an appointment with the GP. So the GP looked at me and said, "Oh, okay. Your blood pressure is quite high, but it's not as high as it was yesterday because I had a recording for yesterday as well, but it's quite still in a high range. So um, there's something that you can do to change, to look at, to see whether there's going to be change before we can think of giving you some medication." I said, really? He said, yeah. So what I want you to do is when you go home, are you working today? I said, no, no, it's weekend, Sabbath, Monday. I said, yeah, Monday I'm working. So could you get some time off from work and just rest? Yeah. I want you to read get yourself a blood pressure machine, or go to the chemist every day and let them read your blood pressure for 5 days. Yeah. And I want you to rest. I don't want you to be doing anything. And I also want you to be active. Do some walking, some working. If you're not a member of the gym, go and enroll yourself in a gym and do some activities and, exercises every day for 5 days. And then I want to see you back on Friday. And then he turns around and said, "Oh yeah, by the way, your weight is too high. You are obese." Yeah, and he brought a chart for me, and he looked at me and showed me this chart, and my weight was actually on the red part, and that really, really, really knocked me down and said, these are the ailments, these are the your sicknesses, these are the issues that are related to your weight that could be causing your high blood pressure high. And all these ailments, they were, he went on and on until I said, "Doctor, please stop." He says, "No, no, you need to know this." And that then really made me start thinking about myself and wanting to go back to start loving myself, because all what it meant is that I have been ignoring some of the things that my body has been telling me, and I kept on normalizing them, and haven't been really going to the gym. I have a gym membership, but haven't really been going to the gym. I'm working from home, mostly sitting on a computer, sitting throughout, and not doing any exercises, and that has been something that has contributed to where I was at that time. So I just want to say that this is really typical story of mine. You guys may want to identify this story, but I'm at no means am I saying some of the things that the doctor or the ailments that the doctor said were due to um, maybe being obese or anything. He looked at me and told me as an individual. So this applies to me. It may apply to you as well. However, I don't want to generalize some of the ailments or the diseases or the conditions that were mentioned that could be related to how I felt that time, that's one size fits all. No, it's not. So this is specifically my story that I'm telling about my situation and what I've been through. Yeah. So What did I do next? I decided, because I asked Dr. Now, what do I do? What next? Then he told me a number of things that I could do. And one major thing that he said is you need to change your diet. Oh, what do you eat? So apparently, from the doctor's perspective of my diet, is that I was on high carbohydrates. By the way, those of you maybe who know me would know that I am Zambian. I come from Zambia, and our staple food in Zambia is cornmeal, which we make into a pulp or a porridge, and we have this with a stew, or um, with the sour milk we call it, or yogurt, and it's the food that we really enjoy. And if you haven't eaten, those who are used to eating that type of food, if you haven't eaten it, then it means that you haven't eaten food. So you can imagine, um, even if I've been in Europe now for years, I've at least I was having pap maybe 3, 4 times a week. So he was actually correct that my diet was full of carbohydrates. I I was eating a lot of nshima, we call it, and eating a lot of rice, and all the carbohydrates you may want to call on this earth. I was having them. And the other thing he mentioned was, what's your sugar intake? Now, luckily me at that time, my body had started repelling, sugar. I didn't want any sugar, so I had that time, last year, when I went to see the GP. I had stayed without sugar for almost a year, so I wasn't having sugar, not even cakes. Anything sweet, I didn't like it. Just my body didn't like it. It was reacting to such things. So I had sugar wasn't on my diet. It wasn't part of my diet. So, and then he said, you could maybe want to you maybe would want to see maybe nutritionists, or you can come up with your own diet, but make sure that you have, really, if you're going to continue having carbohydrates, make sure that you have as big as your fist, just that portion for the day, carbohydrates this small for the day. Now you can imagine, having grown up eating shima myself, what does that mean for the day? You can imagine this small portion of nshima, or for any type of carbohydrates that I would have. So you also talked about having to eat a lot of proteins, adding vegetables, adding, less sweet fruit to your diet, and just eating healthy. I said, oh, okay. What else, doctor? Said you need to do some exercises, get moving. At your age, you need to get moving all the time. Okay, what else? I said, so I'm gonna let you go. I want you to measure, to make sure that you check your BP on a daily basis. Go and get yourself a BP machine, and then come back after a week to come and see me, and see, maybe from there we can tell whether you need to be on medication or not. That was the start of my journey. That was the start of my journey. I went home and thought about it. I think I stayed for a day before I could share this information with my children. And I told them, this is the situation. Okay, my son sent me details of, of all the readings and what it means and the food and all that. I did not know. And this is the truth. I did not know that actually, on social media and other platforms, there were groups of people, there were people talking about all these ailments that were mentioned to me, because until you are in that situation, that's when you can tell and know that actually there are so many other people going through this. And just like they say, if you buy a white car, You may not know how many white cars are around, because wherever you go, you'll be finding so many white cars. So until you have that situation, you are in that situation, that's when you can tell that there's so many. So I started my journey by just going to research about what the GP, the medical practitioners were telling me. And that was my turning point. And that was my turning point. The rest is history. So I'm going to tell you the next what happened and how I then started my journey from there, from being diagnosed with high blood pressure and also there was fear of diabetes there and all other ailments that they were saying if I was not going to change was going to happen to me. So I'll tell you in my next video. So make sure that you subscribe, you tick the like button so that you hear my story, what I did from the time I was told that I had high blood pressure. So I'll see you then next time, yeah, which could be maybe later this today or maybe tomorrow. That's when I'll drop the next video. But make sure that you like so that you know when I've dropped a video, a new video, you are aware that I have dropped a new video. Like I said in my first video, this is a channel where we're going to be talking about wellness, but I needed to give you a background information of why I've started talking about this. There's so many things I've learned along the way, so many other strategies, ideas, ways of living, lifestyle, and all that is involved just with wellness. And that's why this channel is called a wellness channel, is where we're going to be talking, sharing, and interacting all about wellness. So I'll see you in my next video. Make sure that you subscribe, like, and tick, and also share. Most of you may not maybe be going through any difficulties or any situation, um, associated with what I'm going to be talking about. But maybe your loved ones, maybe your mom, your auntie, your uncle, your brother, your sister, or your elders are going through the situation that I've been through. So maybe you can share with them or get one or two tips that you can also help them. So, like I said, I've lined up a lot of activities, a lot of topics, a lot of things to share with you. So, look forward to seeing you again. So, bye for now. See you. Bye. Bye bye.